you do on the day. So you'll arrive at your actual centre, you'll declare your arrival, and you'll have been given via an email time for your veterinary evaluation. Then you'd turn up at the allotted time with your mare and foal for your evaluation. You'd have that. You'd be then given a score sheet by your vets, and you'd take that score sheet into the arena where you would have your evaluation and hand that sheet to the evaluators. You go through the evaluation process, and then at the end of the evaluation, your score and comments would be read out. Then you take your mare and foal out, get them all loaded safely, collect your score sheet, have a safe journey home, then receive your score sheet from the office later on. What the mare and foal are wearing, it's really pretty plain leather for the mare. This one happens to have a silver thread, not the end of the world. We're not judging the mare, we're judging the foal. Then it's a snaffle bridle with either a lead or reins for the mare. No boots or bandages, please, not really relevant for the foal, but as you move up the age groups for yearlings, 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds, we really don't want to see any boots or bandages, and they will ask to be removed. Also, no hoof oil either. So I know that today, obviously, they're wearing hoof oil because they're trying to present the foal to the rest of you guys looking extremely smart. But when it comes to the veterinary evaluation, the vet doesn't really want to see anything like that because they might want to get more hands-on and just see what's going on with foot balance, etc. The foal will be wearing, as this one is, nice plain leather foal slip or head collar, and this one very sensibly has got a brow band across because it's quite useful to prevent the actual top headpiece slipping backwards. You do see quite a few foals, when the headpiece slips backward, they start shaking their head up and down, and then they affect the actual way that they move. Also, in terms of foot trimming, as I'm sure most of you are aware, the foot trimming can affect how the horse actually performs and also its long-term soundness. In addition, we need to make sure that the mare and foal are wormed, and I know that Joanna Varden's going to address that as well later on. And also make sure that your mare and foal are in appropriate condition. One thing that we don't really like seeing at the BEF are overtopped, overweight animals. We'd rather see something perhaps a little bit on the lean side, to be honest, something that looks like it's going to be actually able to do a job. Notice here today that these guys are great because they're all in their whites. In terms of aids that you can take into the ring, you're allowed to bring in a whip. You can have extra handlers with you, because as we all know, youngsters have minds of their own at some times. And also you can bring whips, shakers and whistles, but you're not allowed to bring any bag whips. Okay, the whips, shakers and whistles are allowed in the actual ring, but they're not allowed in the correcting ring, because you might upset all the other horses. Into the ring with your evaluation, hand your sheet to the evaluators, and then you'd start walking off clockwise direction around the triangle. So this gives an evaluator an opportunity to see the horse, the foal, head on, seeing how it moves, then turning away, and we see the horse from behind. And notice how this mare is to the outside of the foal, allowing the foal to be on the inside and visible when coming along this next straight. The foal can also be positioned behind as well, but what we don't want to see is it on the outside. So when you're leading along, we don't want you trying to restrict the horse in any way, unless obviously it's being a bit dangerous. Little turn there, good. And then if the evaluator had seen enough of the walk,
They would then ask you to trot on, but to do that, we'd actually see the foal loose. So you bring the mare and foal to a halt, unclip. This is where it could all get interesting. Okay, then take the mare and the foal, hopefully you'll follow along. So it's being very well behaved, very civilised. Oh, this is I'd rather canter, to be honest, it's easier. So we'll probably try and get the mare to move on a little bit, so we'll see that triangle again if we could. And it may well take a few attempts to actually see what we need to see. I think foal's quite confused, actually. Keep trotting. It's very laid back. It's very good. That's lovely. The nice thing there is that the guy with the foal, he isn't overrunning. He's allowing the foal to express itself within its own rhythm. That's great, thank you. So then you catch the foal up again, which is interesting. So you might want to come prepared with a bucket, or you might try and position the mare and foal in a corner, allowing you to catch up easily. This chap's very good. And thus far, we haven't actually stood the mare and foal up. So you come and stand up. So it's quite a good idea when you're actually preparing your mare and foal that the foal's used to somebody actually walking around them, because we will try and look at the foal from all angles, and if a foal's not used to it, they might try and start forward and keep looking behind them, thinking, what the hell's going on back there? Okay, this foal has been impeccably trained. So we'd stand from all angles, looking at straightness, looking at how the animal's put together in relation to the standards that are set for the actual discipline that it would have been entered for. Okay, then to see the athleticism phase of the actual part of the evaluation, the mare and foal would be taken to a corner. The handler with the foal would have the lead slipped through the head collar, but not actually attached. Because what's going to happen next is the handler of the mare is going to take the mare away, the foal will be retained, and when the mare is far enough away, we release the foal, which can be done now. It's not going the wrong way now. Great. Lovely, so that gives us a chance to see how the foal moves, how it stops, how it accelerates away, and if it goes and has a bit of a jolly, we can see how it turns, and that gives us a much fuller picture of what we're dealing with. Okay, what you do then is you catch up your foal again. This is one of the most cooperative foals I've ever seen. Then you'd walk off on the triangle again. And what we do as evaluators at this point is we go through all of our scores about what we'd actually give this foal. We'd then ask you to stand up again, and then the evaluators would announce to the audience what the actual foal had scored in the various sections. And then what would happen is you take mare and foal away after that, put them away, and then receive your score sheet from the office later on. Are there any questions at all about what we've spoken about? What do I look for in confirmation? As an owner, what discipline would you have put this in for? Eventing, okay. Well, we're looking for what we call a long-lined horse. Doesn't mean long-backed, but it means a horse that has a long line about it so that it will cover the ground when you're actually going across country, and also make the distances between combinations and reach back rails, etc., for various parallel fences and also fences across country as well. Obviously, we'd be looking at the quality of the gaits. So you're looking for the rhythm in the walk, the swing in the walk, the use of the head and neck. So you're ideally looking for an animal that walks like a panther, every part of its body moving and swinging. The trot,
Doesn't have to have the brilliance of a dressage horse trot, but it needs that rhythm and swing again, the ground cover, an element of elevation about it. And your foal's very rhythmical, isn't it? And it just stays in its rhythm, very relaxed. So you can imagine it doing an event dressage test, not boiling over. In the canter, again, really looking for good rhythm. What we look for, with all horses really, is what we call hind leg split. So through the turns, we're looking for the hind leg to really step underneath, and you have a real separation between the hind legs. Horses that aren't terribly athletic tend to move their hind legs quite close together. I don't know whether you've seen that sometimes. They look quite proppy, you know, so they almost look like they've got little straight back legs that prop their way around. So we're looking for that, so it looks like they can really propel themselves forward and also begin to take weight further on through their training, and so you can move the centre of gravity back and then lighten the forehand so they can have more expression. Again, lightness of forehand, that would come even more into play with the dressage horse. We don't expect that quite as much in the eventer. Head neck set, how the neck's set onto the shoulder. So we're looking for a horse that comes out the correct place from the chest and the shoulder, and so it will make life easier for it when it comes to performance. And also, you know, nice clean throat latch, not too fleshy, particularly from an eventing point of view. You want good clean wind, good flexion through the jaw. Obviously the depth of the horse, so allowing for your heart and lung room. Embryo transport, you can have your surrogate mare there. She's not judged, so obviously we don't draw any comparison between the foal and that mare, so that's absolutely fine. Also, if you had an orphan foal, and any equine companion would be fine with that, okay? All the information will be on fact sheet 3, and you can visit www.britishbreeding.org, and also there's a really useful video on there as well. Lovely, thank you very much for being a lovely audience.